Hello everyone, I'm Rob Smith in the Black Quant VTF here, T3 Live with this week's market breakdown as we start off the year. And here's the S&P SPY and tight range, tight range, tight range. And what usually happens in tight range? Take out both sides. That's right. So we start off hello triangle to start off the year. So how do we get out of this? Do we keep powering up? No new actionable signals there, but we're just going to keep an eye to see if it can expand this, take out the highs. We're going to drop back in. You got very similar there in the Qs right here. A little further of a dipsy do. Right here, lower low, higher high, lower low, bam, right up into there. So, just going out on the highs, but it's what we're going to see here is a lot of case by case basis, sector by sector, to start off the year again. And that's good because we can identify where we want to be. Because once you start off, a new week or new month, you want to start looking for those things that are on the move, bright green, bright red bars. Otherwise, you're just going to get chopped up. So, Qs do triangle them out and go back here. We just got a matter of fact of whether it's going to expand on that. If you go to Apple here, tighter triangle here. You can see they got them good in here, hammer, and then right back up in here. Nothing new, here on the monthly. You can see this, trying to get out of this stuff. And so you can see these shadows here, shadow, shadow, and now trying to make a push towards these old highs in here. I just have no new actionable signal to do it, but we'll keep an eye on it. And if you go to the weekly here, you'll see this outside week right here, and that's how you can identify a shorter term triangle, because you see an outside week. Took out the highs and the lows of the previous range, so just no new actionable signal on that. If we go to the small cappers, and you can see here just doing absolutely nothing to start off the year, and a good chance of inside month. You can see the big triangle here, stalls right out, and now just hanging there doing nothing. So you want to be careful when you're trading something in this tight of a range. It really needs to break out of that significantly, or test the lows and then re-enter for a triangle like the other things we've seen. But right now, just sitting there doing nothing. If you go to TLT, remember all this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all this stuff within this bar. Finally tries to get out of it, and once again, takes out the lows down in here, takes out these like so, and now an inside day to start off to see if this is just some corrective activity and then repuking, or she's got some more in the tank. But starting off as inside day TLT. If you go to VIX products, VXX puker, going to new all-time lows. However, it would be a rev strat day. Hammer counters the inside day if they finally want to bring this market in and spook them just a bit, because you got XIV, all this kind of stuff, the same, but it made it very cleanly. Boom, 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 to the top of the try. So the question, are they really going to have the power to keep going here? And we shall see, because they hate the creeper markets and they hate the VIX and Contango, which it is. So we'll see how that goes. If we go to the Dow, waiting for 20,000, didn't quite make it. Knocking on the dough, but once again, you're going to see the tight range. Takes out slight to the downside, so we'll see if they can take this slight to the upside. You can get stuff like Boeing. Here is going to start off as an inside day and getting closer to here, taking out them all-time highs up in there. So just starting off as an inside day is Boeing. Johnny John, interesting here, especially with all the medical stuff. Because you take Johnny John out, you're going to see this here. Last week went slight inside week to the up, but it's 1, 2, 3 bars inside this thing. So triple 3 weeks inside of this, needs to get outside of that. But you can see this triangle here, and certainly anything medical is going to be in play here, as I'll get to that in just a second. If you go to UNH, 3 weeks with inside this bar right near the highs, to see if that can help propel the Dow. And you've got a lot of those HMOs getting interesting here. ANTM, you can see this Doge, boom, 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 boom. Tried to slight higher high, now tries to slight lower low here. All right. Now we'll see what is this, because this is very powerful here. The question is this top of the triangle and drop back in, or is this going to be a consolidation pattern before going higher? So we'll certainly be aware of that above that weekly hammer. As you go to the daily, you're going to see this here. Get chopped up and killed in here, but at least they took an attempt at here. If that failed, now you got an inside day to try and shoot up and take another attempt at the other part here. Humana, you can see this tight triangle here, still putting in this lower series, but what it does, it sets up the rev strat week. Inside week countered with hammer if this thing wants to come up with it as well. If you go to Cigna doing this here on the monthly, trying to go up sideways inside month and try and rip through all this stuff. So we'll be aware of this Cigna inside month and up above 140.70. Molina Health, MOH, is inside month and up, but still needs to get outside of that, but we'll be aware of that if they all start going. And THC, this thing's really gotten beaten up, and now trying to get outside of this inside month. Would still have a tall order to take this out, but we'll be aware of this thing above 1608. If we go to the trannies, and remember, the trannies went to new highs and then backed off, so they're trying to go inside month here too. Just doing the slow drifting death walk. So the question is, how far does that go if you go to the trannies on the weekly? Inside week for the trannies. So we'll see if this corrective action is over, inside week back, move up, or if it gets worse. If you go to American Airlines, just still watching this monthly to see if these things do come in off these shooting stars, like the trannies monthly. But you had an inside week, but not for American Airlines. If you go to, let's go to Alaska Air. And Alaska Air now hits the higher high, and now, right now, just cooking inside month. So just want to be careful on that. The weekly here goes to a slight higher high, then some slight lower lows in here. So just consolidating, nothing really new there. If you go to Southwest Air, you got this weekly shooting star. Tried the highs and comes all the way back in. So if it takes that out, you might have some issues. You'd want to stay below that because it's still here, tight range. But these tight triangles, stuff like this, really need to grow and get bigger, and they will over time. But to start off the year, some of these things are still pretty tight. If we go to Delta, and Delta would also be shooting star here if they want to bring it in. Shooting star here, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4 bars completely within this week. That needs to change. So we'll see about that. If we go to the rails, KSU comes back for potential weekly hammer or rebreak because it's inside month to the downside below here, that 83.36. It regains it, but that level going to be important to see whether you can take the hammer out for the one bar rev strat month potential, or does it rebreak that monthly to the downside. If we go to Norfolk Southern, you'll see this acting a little better, an outside week to the upside. All right, and so what that means here, just see this. They came down and took out these guys and then went right back up. So you'd want to stay up above that stuff, but no new actionable signals there. Union Pack here, potentially trying to just, like I said, a lot of micromanage here to start off the month to see if it can reclaim something like this and get back into here if you see any further rail strength, because you go to the weekly, and you'll see this old triangle becomes support to the tick-tock ticky here, and here, to see if that can hold. And you can see on this weekly reclaiming this range, which would be good to try and triangle back up on that. If we go to RAIL, we've been watching this for a while. Still trying to get out of this triangle. If you go to the old daily, you're going to see this. It's an old daily. It's still walking up slight higher lows off of that stuff to try and get out of here. On a monthly basis, when you can identify the triangle as an outside bar, this here, we want to get outside of this. So this high is 1603. So that's the level you want to get out of and stay above in that thing. We go to FedEx. Inside week for the FedEx and inside week for UPS. So we'll see how those go. And once again, if you look at the UPS, triangle becomes support, like so. Or break back into the triangle with the inside week and downers. We shall see what we shall see. What also is going to be really interesting here is even if the market does pull back or what it does, we're still waiting to see the real heavy sector rotation outside of what we already know, which I'll get to in a second. But you got the utilities. XLU here, 1, 2, 3 weeks completely within this pattern, within this here. This business in here, an inside week, and then all this stuff right in here. So are they going to come back into yield? And, because when you look at a daily, it's like, yellows are doing nothing, get killed in here, right? So you got to get out of this range, but we'll see how that goes. If we get to like AEP, you'll see that same thing. So the question is this move real? Doji, measured move, and start ripping here. And so we'll watch them all together. If we go to Dominion comes up, potential momentum hammer after taking these levels out and reclaiming back up in there. If we can take that out, go to ED, you can see that same thing, potential momentum hammer. And if it takes it out on the weekly, you also would be inside month to the upside, above 74.30. If we go to EXC, You'll see one outside weak momentum hammer. All right, that's a rev strat because that was inside, and that inside weak countered with an actionable signal. It's also 1, 2, 3 bars completely within this range. So you want to get out of here, take a shot at that, and stay up. If we go to because if you go to that daily, starting in here, you'll remember this thing from a video past. Triangle needed to grow. Bam, 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 all the way back up. So let's see if this is the real move finally to get out of all this. All right, if we go to NEE, so starting off as an inside day. Once again, we're seeing a lot of this tight stuff in here. Test these lows, not come inside day. Does it test that, or is it going to come up and test these guys through here? If it does, you also have the inside month break, like so. That would be above 120.75. You'd still need to get outside of this thing, but 120.75 are going to get my attention. And certainly, if the Ute strength will start off the inside day. If you go to Southern Company, Southern here, believe it just missed rev strap. Once again, 3 weeks in here, and you did attempt that slight lower low. We'll see how that goes. If you go to SRE here, 1, 2, 3 weeks within this, still needs to get out of that. It's got the inside month here to take out. And also we'll see if they go into the REITs, VNQ, if they start going for yield. REITs, you want to be careful of this here. Friday just goes slight higher high. Taking these guys out, all this kind of stuff here, bam. But there's a lot of interesting setups here if they do want to start coming into these things. If we go to AIV going to be an inside day, but a lot of these things came rallying back at the end of the week. The potential to go momentum hammer and try and get out of this stuff and take a shot up in here. So momentum hammer weekly AIV, AVB here, also momentum hammer. If we go to SPG, you see how this thing is still wallowing near the lows, although it had a nice week last week. Monthly here to see if it can come off of here. But one thing you got to remember with what's going on in retail, these guys own shopping malls and stuff like that. So it wouldn't surprise me for this thing to be or stay the laggard. If it goes to EQR, but we'll trade it technically or quantitatively, I should say. EQR coming up for another weekly momentum hammer if that wants to come up. If you go to FRT is presently inside month to the upside. HCN the same. Letter O the same. Triple N the same. MAC Macerich is also the same. To see if it can come off of here on the monthly. OHI. So you get the picture. We'll be taking an eye on those Utes and see if they start coming into yield. If you go to the XME still opens this inside month, and on the weekly question up here goes up high a little bit. Still holding up in this stuff, but no new actionable signals to go after. And if you go to the daily, you're going to see this. Starting off like this. Tight, tight. Daily triangle to start off the year. Like so. How do you get out of this thing? If you go to gold, gold pops its head up, so the question is this corrective activity and then just puke back down, or does it have any more in the tank? We've got no new actionable signals on it, unfortunately, so you can draw something like this. Keep an eye on that because you got GDX here, a little better, came up to these highs, but no new actionable signals is going to be the problem. You go to silver. Here you can see even weaker, couldn't even make it up into here, so far. Silver going to look something like these. No actionable signals though, so let's not jump up and down. So what you can do is watch the individuals. Newmont above here, 3608 is inside month and up, and you got RGLD going inside week. And keep an eye on those individually. If we go to steels, letter X just chopping them up in here, and this is what I'm talking about, these tight triangles here. Lower low, higher high, lower low, higher high, lower low, higher high, and now right back in the middle. That's got to change. It's got to get out of there. And if we are going to see any carnage, you can remember it's still got a ways to get down to that shooting star kind of new core here, a little bit closer, but still tight ranges on the daily, but you can see a little bit lower than this. So this thing's a little bit weaker. at least so far. And so you can see if it's really going to break down here. You got this momentum shooting star weekly if they want to take that down. You got RS doing the same. And RS is closer to taking out the monthly. So if it takes this out, potentially goes monthly shooting star, weekly shooting star in one crack if they want to start hunting these things. FCX. FCX came off the slight lower low, now inside day. So the question is, how does it get out of this? Something like this here. Can it go up and start taking that out? Still at this point, you can see this still inside month. Would need to get out of there. If we go to the financials, believe we got some earnings coming out, but this is one of my favorites. And guys, how they wanted to short this move, and this is always my favorite one. Like, I'm a reversion to the mean trader. I'm like, oh yeah, is it reverting to the mean, or I bet that moving average is a moving up. Anyway, you got it to go tight, come down, go inside day, then take out both sides of this here, right? So it's really going to be case by case basis if we get some earnings, or or stock by stock if we can get out of this thing and use this as another consolidation pattern. But if you go to the XLF. Very similar, except a little even tighter in here. KRE here, still even tighter and starting off as an inside day, and that's where you're going to get like Citicorp. Here you can see all these tight ranges inside day. Still got to get out of that stuff. JP Morgan here is an inside day, and that could help the Dow. If we go to Bank of America, here, another inside day in the middle of that range. Wells Fargo, inside day in the middle of all this business. Look at this. And if you go to the weekly, here you'll see all this stuff here. This big week, then 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks completely within this bars range. Going to be a tough time getting out of that, so be careful in there. If you go to PNC Bank, still powering and going momentum weekly hammer. And this thing had its chance. It went inside day and down for a second. You can see just still. Now, so the question is going to go vertical and do this again off the momentum hammer. So we'll be certainly paying attention to the momentum hammer above 119.74. BBT, just going to see all this stuff just inside week and just ridiculously tight. So be careful. All right. So if we go to MA inside day, and MA comes back up off the Rev Strat month, or inside month, opens and closes back in after challenging that. So that's Rev Strat month above 105.71, still in fours. VSER just went doji and back up, but if you look at the daily, you're going to see this gets out of this. And so if we go back to the weekly, so right now we'll go to the daily. Just take this out a little bit. Like so. Can it make it all the way back up into these things, up around 84 and change? Just no new actionable signal to do it. American Express, I've talked about this a few times. You got an inside day here, and still trying to walk up this business. And the good thing for American Express, especially when it comes to the financials, nowhere near the highs. And so if they're all really going to keep it going, that's something that you'd want to know. It's a potential a lot more room there. If we go to Goldman Sachs just ripper off that, and then same deal. Went Rev Strat day to the upside slightly, but you can see how tight this business is in here. Still got to get out of there. However, it also goes weekly momentum hammer if it wants to stick it to them and really start going again and help out old Dow 20,000. If we get to Earl, crude, you can barely see it on this, an outside week. And this group really doing nothing. So you see this as an outside week, would have to get outside of that. So potential for an inside week for crude, because if you look at the XLE, it's just doing nothing. I mean, look at this stuff. It's really just all this kind of range stuff is going to have to change, over time, as the month and the year go on. And so these are the types of variables we want to know about as far as the health of the market. But in general, you can see that doing nothing. You got XOP here doing nothing. But OIH, which is a little bit more sensitive to the price of Earl, actually moving up a little bit better, and it's been handily better ever since here, since the big push up in here, so it's still trying to hold up in there. But if we go to the big boy Chever, once again tight weekly up in here, tries to get through here, and then inside day to the downside, slightly takes that out. So this outside bar would be key. You want to see if you can get back into that, but just be careful when you're having these tight ranges like this, because it's so far. It would be inside month, even if it comes down fairly significantly. So be aware of that. ExxonMobil, and Exxon back in no man's land. So goes up, goes down, tries to take that. Now it's coming right back in the middle of all this stuff. So not much to do there either. We'll see if, first of all, if you reclaim anything like that to be triangling back up. If we go to CRZO, Carrizo, at least you've got, and when you get these tight ranges, you're going to start getting more of this. The inside day, then the inside weeks, then the inside months, blah, blah, blah. So you do have the inside week there. You got an inside week in Concho to keep an eye on. Marathon, inside week. Murphy, inside weeks. You got G-Por here, which has been the pig. However, trying to hammer off the bottom of this. So if there's any hope here, G-Por, we know, on the daily, remember that, just cratered. Now these 3 days completely within inside this range, so when you get out of that and then use that to take the weekly hammer if there's any hope for the G-port. And we're on a Haas here, and once again these tight ranges, but it tries to reclaim this stuff, and what that means is on the daily you're going inside day to see if this is the slight lower low, inside day, and then start gunning up towards here. That would be nice. Once again, tight range moves, but we'll see how that goes. If we go to, because once again, you see how it's monthly here, still inside month and not doing anything as yet. So just be aware of that. But inside days to start off. You go to Slob and Halliburton for the little bit better. You got the outside day trying to come up and take this stuff out, so which gives you the here, the slight lower lows. Now the question is going to be strong enough to take this into the higher highs, but just not much meat on the bone would be the problem. But we'll see how that can, if that takes it out, because remember it's walking up this on the weekly here, like so, trying to get through that stuff. If you go to Halliburton a little better, and you can see that took this tight stuff into here, but just no new actionable signals, except that you did have your doji month rest, and now it's trying to go. So Halliburton, at least at this point, trying to hold above that stuff. Just no new actionable signal is going to be the problem, and I'll shrink that down again. If you go to Encana, remember we talked about this, and they had a nice announcement here that got them going here, but want to be aware of this on the micro basis, like so, to see if you can get out of this stuff, and you see all this stuff in here too, to get out of there. But this is one of those used to be somebody's, and we always like to track things that used to be a lot higher, especially if oil does start to move higher. This thing used to be near 100, and now it's starting to walk its way back up, so still on the radar there. WMB used to be a lot higher too, and it's trying to take this momentum monthly hammer above here. Once again, these tight range choppy stuff here, but does try to make this attempt out of here, and it would be momentum hammer above that monthly, so we'll respect that with full time frame continuity and see if we can get any additional actionable signals. We don't have any as of right now. In the refiners, MPC, which was strong, did the gap in reverse here, comes back in and goes inside day. So the question is going to take all these guys out now, not only just come in like this, but go inside day and start ripping through all this stuff. You got Valero here doing similar inside day to see if these guys have finally run out of steam. If we go to Natty Gas, you guys, in UN, you go UNG here, and UNG, and you can see this inside day and still in this daily triangle here. Boom, 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 and now inside day to see if it gets worse. It can try and hold back up into there. If we go to GLNG, clang. Inside day, but trying to get out of these monthlies. Remember, it used to be somebody, and the monthly inside month here. Trying to see if you can get out of this inside month. If you go to Sunoco inside month, and that would break above 2806 because you're coming in this week as an inside week, which would be right there 2783. So potential of this thing's real. This big outside fractal triangle to go. That'd be a nice combination if you can get it. EEP. On the monthly, just watching this hammer to see if that can propel this baby up to somewhere near where it used to be. All right, but now XRT retail. Now we're talking things that are on the move, and you can see how this goes up, goes inside week, and now starts to come back in here outside week to see if that's a fractal triangle, and so you can draw that like this on the daily. Got them good here. So the question is this going to be a continuation pattern of this and continue to get rocked inside day there? If we get a target. Target, I've talked about being careful on this thing when there's change in continuity because you do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, now 8 months completely within this bar's range, and that's when you can expect it to go up, go down, go up, go down. Now it's trying to go inside month to the downside, albeit potentially 2 bar pattern because it's going to be tall order to take this out. But what's been going on in retail certainly wouldn't surprise me. So you're going to have that monthly daily potential combo to start. Once again, looking like the XRT, you can see this, and you'll see this. Right, like so, trying to get out of that. So even if it takes it up, maybe you can get up into there. But right now, looking for potential combo down. Walmart also going to be weighing on the Dow here because the Walmart now goes Rev Strat month to see if Amazon's going to put everybody out of business in one shot. Inside month countered with the shooter, and that's Rev Strat month below 68.83 at this point. Costco still hanging around, still much better, and still, if they're really going to be the pride here, inside day momentum hammer to try and get through something like this here. Can they get out of this thing? Bam. So Costco still acting a little better there. Okay, now this kind of Abercrombie. Oh, no. Abercrombie, triangle them out. Tight range, take out both sides. And that what that does is that sets up the weekly momentum shooter Rev Strat because that was an inside week, and now this counter with the shooting star. They really want to put her out of her misery. If we go to we'll go to Bloodbath and Beyond. Also momentum shooters here if they want to continue this triangle down into oblivion and take these guys out. So this also would be Rev Strat because this was inside week. So Rev Strat's below 40.51 if they want to go boom, 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 take out all three in one shot. If we go to Burlington Coat Factory, the Coat Factory, you can see this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks completely in this range. So you want to be careful of that, but that did help form the inside month. And so it goes inside month below 84.23. And then on the daily, you're going to see this real tight triangle stuff here to see how does he get out of this. The higher highs and the lower lows. Like so. If you go to Big Lots, Big Lots, feeling pretty good about itself up around here in the top of the tri, but now comes in, that's shooting star below 49.67. So I'm going to be aware of that level on the monthly. If we go to Cheesecake Factory, if we can go to some restaurants here too. Cheesecake Factory, just want to see if they start hitting anybody that sells anything. So it is shooting star down below 58.80 on the monthly. We'd have to get some more signals besides that. If we go to DDS, Dillard's Department Store, department store, egad. That's inside month and to the downside and trying to break out of this range. And the good thing it has is you're trying to go into lower lows, bottom of the triangle on the daily like this, but you're starting off as an inside day, potentially daily, monthly signals into the lows. You're going to see this business. I can take that out further. Well, you can get the idea here. All right, let's see if it's got more lows into it. If you go to Dollar Tree, Dollar Tree had the big old comeback, slight higher high, kiss of death, and peak. Now, so if we go to here, now it's just weekly momentum shooting star here to see if it wants to take all this stuff out. And if it does, that would take out the inside month back to the downside again. Here. So we got the potential weekly monthly combo in Dollar Tree. DRI in the restaurants, just a shooting star here in the monthly below 72.03 because Brinker, even worse here. Yeah, inside month and down here below 49.07. If we go to Foot Locker, these guys still hanging around, or at least they think they are. Here's the monthly shooting star below 70.56. Would also be weekly momentum shooting star here below 70.74 for a potential combination on that. If you go to GES Guess, oh boy, still peaking. Rev Strat week 2-bar pattern, inside week countered with shooter, and remember last month that was the monthly kicking pattern into the lows. We'll see if they want to finish him. If we go to Jack in the Box, Jack in the Box been way up there, but the question is how far does this thing drop back in? Goes inside week back into here. But as we've seen, a lot of this stuff can get some carnage going. And you got an inside day if they want to continue. This is all she wrote, and now it's starting to break down. You got that inside day there. If you go to LB, ow, and that's inside day. And so the question is, do they have more in the tank of puking? And just look at this monthly. Remember all this stuff here. this thing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months. And so we're going to see if we can finally take that out, and that's $60 there. So you got an inside day, and then we'll see how it would handle that. If you go to Lowe's Corp, Lowe's goes is monthly shooter here, and so we want to be aware of that too. If Lowe's takes out 69.92. Go to Macy's. Yeah. So Macy's going inside day to see if there's any hope, or if they just on the gapper and keep going. The problem that monthly, boy, is if this was the consolidation area and down sideways, and then we got another round of this baby, that could get a little nasty. So we'll see. A lot nasty. Let's see. Children's Place, even the champ here is a monthly shooting star if they want to take that out. Low 99.40, and you do have the weekly doing this. The weekly shooter here below 100.05. They want to take that out because they got them good in here. They did. Oh, it's the pride of the retail. Are you sure? Now you got the inside data, see if you can take all these guys out. If you go to Ross Stores finally starting to give it up, and the question is, she going to join the party? Because you're still coming off the highs, but inside month and down below 65.49 in a rough neighborhood. So we'll see how that goes. If we go to Skechers, you can see this monthly shooter. If it can take that out and just starts off here, it's real tight. But it's just about a rough strat here. Here, you take out those highs, inside bar, doji. Just keeping in mind of anybody that sells anything in this environment. TJ Maxx, the same when you go like this. The monthly, inside month, and we want to see how that breaks. 74.96 is where that would break the inside month. If we go to Tractor Supply, now the question here, was this all just corrective activity of all this stuff, and then they repuke it? We have the actionable signal here would be, once again, potential monthly shooter here, and that's below 75.06. It's almost right there. If you go to Urban Outfitters, on the daily, comes up here, and you got momentum shooting star if they want to take this out and just keep a puking like everything else. Well, Whole Foods does this. Whole Foods goes inside date, so the question is this triangle any good? Can we hold on to this inside date, and does Whole Foods have a shot up into there? It was just doji week to start off, so you do have that slight lower low though, so we'll see. If we go to the IBB, there we go, the bastion of hope. We got the monthly going inside month and up. There's just big range to get out of, but we'll respect that anytime it is and has full time frame continuity to the upside. On Friday, we had this, trying to get out of this range, right? And you do, and you try and hold it there. That's good, just not by much. And so everything's going to need to reconfirm that. You got XLV also inside month to the upside, and would have a lot easier path to taking that out. But right now it is inside month and up XLV. So we got a whole bunch of medical stuff. GILD still trying to come out of the ashes. Here has a nice move. This was higher than that, but then you come up and you slam your head right into there. 2-day inside pattern. Both these days are inside of there. You need to get out of that. If you go to BIIB, inside day here, I believe. I'm going to take it out a little bit. Took it out a little bit. 2-day inside pattern now, and still needs to get outside of that month. If you go to Amgen a little better here. It goes inside month and up, but was on the gapper, and the gapper drops it in. Was the problem there. So good chance that this thing goes inside week this week, so be aware of that. If you go to Regeneron getting a little bit of a smackdown here like that, but not the end of the world. In the grander scheme of things, it's still here. It's still inside month, and still would need to get outside of there, and nowhere near doing it, but it is closer to the downside of taking that out. If you go to Celgene, so again, these multiple patterns, trying to get outside of the monthly. Remember, this weekly is what it's been doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks completely within here, and nowhere near taking that out. So that eventually is going to need to change. If we go to ABC presently month and up here, and that's why I want to stick with stuff that got those signals in force. Inside month to the upside, ABC right now. ALKS still on the comeback trail. It's trying to reclaim all of this with walk, and it is inside month and up as of right now. If we go to AstraZeneca, AstraZeneca, I just want to keep an eye on this daily triangle like so here that you shall see. See if we can get any actionable signals to get, I'm sorry, the weekly. Here, boom, 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 and now getting back into here. So we look for any actionable signals that might get this thing, keep it going. If you go to BMRN in the bio, you are here. Just trying to take out the inside month. Here, and that's inside month above that 8761. Go to Bristol Myers, and Bristol Myers is keeping an eye on this big all monthly triangle. It's trying to walk back through here, and much like those tight ranges we've been seeing in a lot of things to start off the year, you do have momentum hammer here. You get this triangle out, momentum hammer to try and get through this stuff, and that would be above 60.33 on Monday. If we go to Clovis, Clovis pops back up. They tried to hit it, hammer right back up, inside day. Rev Strat week, hammer counters inside bar here to see if that can go, and that would trigger here above 46.78. EGRX, well, they got them good in here. EGRX goes inside month to the upside, and then inside day back into this stuff. And that's why when you get these tight ranges, you want to be real careful when they start coming back into reclaiming stuff. This thing got pounded in here, so we'll see how much worse that gets. Does it go 1 bar rev strat, and that would take all these guys out? By 1 bar rev strat on the monthly, I say these. Here, as it sets up, we can look for it, a 1 bar rev strat. If it gets anywhere near closer to that 72.23, we can look for that setup. If we go to ICPT, still tight inside month, so we're waiting on that thing. It's hasn't made an attempt yet, but we'll be keeping an eye on that either side. Jazz Farm, inside month to the upside above 114.86. So it's there right now. We can look for additional signals. Above that, Junome, still trying to come out of the ashes, finally green on the month. And on the day, get the slight rev strat here, 2 bar pattern. Inside day, tick down like penny or two. So I want to see how it gets out of this. The first trigger of the rev strat would be 2032. If we go to Lilly, Lily's an inside day after this spike, so even if it takes that out, we'd need to take that out. But the good part about it is you'd have multiple actionable signals. You'd be inside day and inside month and up in Lilly. Mylan, trying to come out of the ashes here in the month, but drops back in as well. And so the question is going to kick back in for another potential rev strat below the weekly shooter of 37.95, or can it hold and try and do the rebreak? If we go to NLNK, inside week, and once again, it used to be somebody, or if it's going to try and get out of this thing. So inside week for NLNK, it also starts off as inside day. So you can see this tight range, take out both sides here, and now can we make a legitimate shot at either side of that? Pfizer, starting off here, inside month to the upside about 33.30. SCMP, these guys better hope the drugs work. It's inside month and 2 week inside pattern and rev strat here. Inside opens and closes back, and that would rev strat to the downside at 13.29 if they want to take their sacrificial lammet. Sarepta, it finally had a green week after all this business, and we're watching this stuff down in here. On the daily, finally gets out of here. The question is this all she got in the tank? And rev strat right back down for another triangle like this, or is going to start coming through here? We'll look for additional actionable signals on that, or down through here, the rev strat here, 29.24 if she wants to puke again. Teva, speaking of puking, and they got him good here. They did take him out, triangle him out, down. No new actionable signal on that. But you can see Handley outperforming in a very strong Biotech. TSRO, we know that's been the stronger one. And it's got the momentum hammer daily on Friday to give you the monthly break here at 143. So above 143, you got that. And UTHR, does this. Just go in here, inside day to start off to see if that can help the cause. If we go to Tech, XLK, once again, we got that side lower low, and now just racing toward the high. So now there's that triangle. You got to get outside of that for XLK. You got the semiconductors, SMH. Worse, and you can see 1, 2, 3 days completely within this bars range. So tight range here, and if it drops in here once again, potential of the inside month, a lot of month left here, but it opened on the highs of the month, still has to get outside of all those days. If we go to the fangers, Facebook takes the inside month to the upside. Still would need to take this out to not be a 2-month pattern. So I want to be very aware of that, because even though it does this, takes this stuff out, all it takes is just one drop in on Monday and go inside day and right back down. But we're going to respect that for full time frame continuity and additional actionable signals anytime it is above 122.50. Amazon taking over the world. Finally goes inside month and up here above 782.46, and that was a nice move too. But once again, these tight ranges. So now that it gets and takes these guys out, got to stay out. And so we'll be watching for signals above that or see if it drops back in. If we go to Netflix, and Netflix, once again, the 2-month pattern above that. So still looking good above 129.07. We can look for additional actionable signals with time frame continuity there. If we go to Google, and the Goog, got them good in here. She did. Triangle out. Here, bam, 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 then up in here, make sure everybody's gone, and then free to move back up. So it's just going to be like this, no new actionable signal, but here's your new triangle here for Google. If we go to NVIDIA, and like I said, it's probably going inside month, almost for sure. Now, the good thing is it's a big enough range, but the problem is what I'm showing you is that when something's still inside, something that used to move, then does this. 1, 2, 3 days inside of this bar. So trying to hold the top of this triangle here, but 3 days inside of that and going inside months, so be careful on that. If we go to Agilent, letter A, and you're going to see this. Presently, RevStrat month to the upside here, above 46.92. Took the inside month down and then back in. So letter A, if you go to Akamai here, RevStrat, still 3 months within this bar, but inside bar opens and closes back in there. RevStrat above 69.26. It's right there right now. Just looking for reconfirmation. Baidu, the inside everything, finally starting to get the move. Got the inside month and up in Baidu above 173. Now, to not triangle back down, you got the momentum hammer inside day. So that would try and reconfirm above 177.28 to try and keep getting out of that. Baidu. CTXS here. Tight stuff, but start off the year inside week, 1, 2, 3 weeks within this, but we're trying to go finally go into new highs. If we look at hack and the cyber stuff, once again, triangle becomes support. 1, 2, dink, 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 and watching to see if this thing can take the inside month here. And that inside month break would be 27.78 because we had Palo Alto finally coming out of the ashes last week to do this inside week and up finally off the slight lower low there. So whether that can continue or not, we'll have to see. But we've got FTNT here is RevStrat month to the upside here, and that's RevStrat month above 30.94. If we go to Splunker, that was nice on Friday because we got ourselves the inside day and up. And if you take this out, you're going to see this well-defined triangle to keep an eye on here. Like so. If we go to Symantec here, chopping them up but good, and here she is, right? And you know why? Because it was an inside on the month. Expect to get killed like that. So here, now we got the inside month there. The question is, what is all this business in here? Do we get up? Remember, this is RevStrat off the lows, inside month and up. And now all this business to see if this can be another continuation pattern up here towards 28. And now you inside month and up above 25.11. It's getting close. If you go to AVGO, here, remember the daily triangle here. We're watching forever, and we want to be aware of it. The problem is if it doesn't get out of this thing again, now that it's dropped back in, you want to be aware of these things potential outside, inside month here for AVGO and SWKS. Just want to be aware of those outside months and then back in the middle because that's where you're going to get chopped up. If you go to Texas Instruments now coming towards the highs. This would be momentum month to the upside, momentum hammer, and inside month to the upside if you can get out of that. And you can see here much better. You know, outside bar trying to take a shot at all that kind of stuff. So if you go to LRCX here, LRCX 1, 2, 3, 4 bars completely within that bar's range. That gives you inside week because there's only 4 days last week to try and go to ripping towards the highs here. So those two still outperforming at this point. All right, just a few more. FSLR. Still stuck down in here and still waiting to see on this monthly break here. But we got a few weekly things to keep an eye on. You got CSIQ inside month, inside week, and you got the Sun Power SPWR tight inside week down here. So we'll see if that gets anything going. If we go to ACN here would be RevStrat month here below 116.09. It's right there to see if you can get through that. Inside month countered with the shooter. You've got Cummins engine here. Potential RevStrat weak 1, 2, 3 bars in there, but opens and closes back in that inside range. That would RevStrat below 136.84. Go to Garmin. Garmin going inside weak here. And so the question is, was this real, this corrective, and then come down and try and take all this stuff out, or does it hold this support? Right now you're inside weak here, and if it does break to the downside, your potential inside week and month to the downside there. If we go to Carl Icon here, this lower level triangle. Carl used to be somebody, so if you go to the weekly, you'll see this business in here. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, and now inside week again, completely in this bars range to see if we can get through all this stuff, or is it going to drop back in? But right now you got inside week to keep on and Carl. If we go to Shopify, getting the deal with Amazon, that's always good because they're taking over the world, it seems like. You are inside month and up and inside day to start off the week for Shopify. And USG, here you can see once again this range like this here. See if you can get out of there and then stay down, because if it does take it out, you do have momentum. Weekly shooter back into this triangle and a potentially combination with a monthly shooter as well. If you go to, let's finish her off with the Tesla. And Tesla, once again, we said to reclaim this thing first, which it did, the outside bar, got in it and comes back into here. And now, if you go to the weekly, takes these guys out, goes inside week 1, 2, 3, 4, and now outside week to the upside. So you want to take a shot at this stuff. Outside week is going to be fractal triangle, and that's going to show up itself like this: the lower lows and the higher highs, and then the momentum hammer on Friday. So no new actionable signal there, but trying to expand that. It is RevStrat quarter, if you recall from the macro video I did to end the year. All right, so coming up here, we want to see if they go into yield this week with those Utes and those REITs. Certainly all those bios to the upside, if that continues, and to see if there's more death in the retail sector. So that's going to do it for this week. I hope everybody had a good week. I'll see you on Monday morning. All right, I'm Rob Smith, the Black Quant Edge VTF here at T3 Live.